I can feel the joy exuding from Mike. It's fine. He doesn't have to show it on his face. I feel it in his heart over there.
I feel it. Oh, babe, I can serenade you.
Do
That's
it.
not.
Yeah, I think
Oh, come on.
that's how you can close out the episode.
I feel you. No. How does it go? I feel it in my
fingers.
my fingers.
I feel it in my toes.
Ooh.
Love is all around me. This episode just turned, and it's now come something completely different. Bad karaoke.
Oh.
A cappella karaoke. So you two have been married how long?
20 years, 18th.
That's right. 20 years.
20 years. And where did you two meet?
Well, we are, what was that thing?
I'm scared to say. What are you going to say?
What was it? Harmony? Or
Okay, fine. So we met on
what was that?
eHarmony.
eHarmony. Yeah.
I don't think we told anyone until we were like, what, 15 years or so?
17, 18 years in.
Yeah. That is like loser.
Why? But you know, in this age, that's not uncommon anymore. Then it was definitely kind of progressive for you both to meet on eHarmony.
Well, and he broke up with me.
What?
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then we said, okay, no, let's try this.
yeah, I thought she was too strong for me.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Was I too assertive?
That's kind of where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you fell in love with my crazy.
Yeah.
So, wait, I got to know. So you broke up for a short stint?
Yeah, about a day.
Oh, it was just a day. Couldn't.
I just like to tell him that. But here's the thing, though.
You tried to leave me and you failed.
Epic failure. Our relationship has been like a straight line. Like God knew what he was doing when I think you say it best.
She was born in Hollister, California in 1908 or something like that. 1968. And I think God looked at us and thought, oh my God, what have I done? How am I going to get these two together? She was born into a migrant family, and they traveled all over the place. And they had apricot orchards in California that they took care of, and through Arizona, and they settled in Texas. And then they started coming up here to Michigan and doing cucumbers and cherries and things like that. Well, she got married and got kind of settled in up in Fort Wayne. And she started working at J.C. Penney, if I remember correctly. Well, maybe a fast food restaurant to begin with.
My very first job was at McDonald's. I think I was 17. That was my very first job. And
Yeah. And then she went to J.C. Penney, and somebody kind of recruited her from Lincoln Financial, and she was in.
well, not really recruited, but they came in and talked to me about applying. And I didn't pass the first test. I didn't pass it. So I had to, I was adamant, I'm going to pass the second test.
Yeah. And, yeah, I'm pretty proud of her, coming from a totally Spanish-speaking existence to becoming fluent in English at a late age, like 13, 14. That's significant, and it shows her drive and determination.
Love, I was in fourth grade. So I think it was like,
It's 13, 14, fourth grade, same thing.
really?
No.
But here's part of the root and the heart of your relationship is you are very proud of her and her accomplishments and her drive and Maria's commitment. That fire that's inside of her might have been too strong for you.
Well, I tell you,
But only for a day he took a break. He only could handle the break one day, but
that Latin passion can work for you or against you.
yeah,
So,
it works definitely for her.
well, I mean, in my relationship.
He loves my crazy.
So you were born in California, raised in Texas, right, Maria?
Yes.
How about you, Mike? Where were you born?
I was born in Wabash and raised in Peru.
I'd always wondered what your tie was to this community. And so I had no idea that you were born here.
Yeah, I was born in the hospital that's no longer there.
Yeah. the original, the community hospital. And then you both moved and came back to the stateside. And your story is one of dedication, dreaming big, and passion. And so today in the studio, I am joined with Mike and Maria Smyth. They are longtime community stakeholders. They both have always shown up for their community in more ways than some might not even realize. They both dream big and they support big. And so welcome to the Thrive in Wabash County podcast.
Thank you.
It really is great to sit down with you both in this element, even though maybe some arm twisting over there in one of the chairs. But personally, I have grown such a deep fondness for you both.
Thank you.
And the way you show up for people and places. And so we're going to talk today about what makes Mike and Maria Smyth tick, what brought them here, and what stuck. Like, why did you stay, So thinking back about, when you first got together, you were living where then when you were first married?
So when we first married, Mike was living here in Wabash and I was in Leo, and no intentions of coming to Wabash, but he had the bigger house. We were coming together as a blended family, and I brought the girls, 3 girls, and he had 2 boys at the time. And we wouldn't have fit in my little bitty old shoebox house. But it just made more sense. So once we got married that first year, I commuted to Leo High School and Cedarville Elementary with my girls for 1 year because I didn't want to change their lives so drastically.
Yeah.
We had I think it took us 3 or 4 years before I ever even thought of dating and getting married again. And I wanted to minimize the impact on them as much as possible. So we commuted. Do you remember those days of getting up at 5 in the morning, leaving by 6:30? But I waited till they were ready. And then we moved to Wabash. And it was out in the boonies because it was very quiet out there.
Yeah, that rural lifestyle.
Yes. And there was nothing. I remember at first in Wabash, the Walmart used to be in a different location, and we were never really Walmart shoppers, and there was nothing here. So I did everything in Fort Wayne. I would do my grocery shopping in Fort Wayne before coming home, and I really didn't want to invest any time here because I absolutely loved my job in Fort Wayne.
And you already had a sense of community built there.
In a way. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I was involved with the girls and their sports and, as much as I could have because I'm not an outdoorsy person.
Same, girl. Same.
I start to sweat. Okay, let's go
Or
inside.
if the first time you see a bug, you're like, I'm out.
A
I'm
snake.
out. Anything. If it moves and doesn't make noise, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So then you eventually moved to China. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout thing.
I think you need to step back just a little bit so that the story comes together.
Yeah. So help me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was working at Pike Lumber Company, and Maria thinks I was getting old before my time because all I was doing was sitting down and stuff. And I had an opportunity to become a millwright. And I traveled to Georgia and Tennessee and Ohio, and I finally took a millwrighting position with the millwright riggers, and we traveled to Michigan where they were building a new foundry. And that project lasted, I think it was probably 1.5 years, 2 years, and the job ended, and she had come up and was living with me up there, and she decided, well, the job's going to end here pretty quick, so she's going to move to Texas. So she moved to Texas in the spring, around May, I think it was.
No, it was July.
July. Oh, yeah, hottest time of the year.
It was hot as Hades, I'm sure.
I would go down there back and forth, and at one time I had a Indiana insurance, Indiana driver's plate, and a Texas driver's license.
Yes.
And I think we had, 7 addresses in the first 5 years?
Right about that. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And so, well, the job ended at Blue Diamond, and I was going to go to Texas and live with my extended family down there. And when the job ended, the owner of the company came up to me and said, "We'd like for you to stay on and run the construction crew here at Blue Diamond." And I said, "Okay, I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. So, yeah, sure." And probably a year after that, Leroy came by again and says, "Hey, Mike, how you feel about going to China?" I go, "Yeah, why not?"
That was your response? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And
It's got to be cooler than this place, temperature-wise.
not necessarily.
Oh, yeah. I forget.
we'll
Some
get
of
to
that's a tropical climate. Yeah.
And so I went over to look at the project and came back, and they were gracious enough to allow our families to go with us. So we rounded up 19 volunteers from out of the foundry, and we took them over there and started putting it together. And it was quite an experience for the family, and we spent a pile of money traveling all over.
Well, the females did. Mike worked. Mike was 14 hours a day
Oh, wow.
for,
For 6 months or so, and then we said this is going to take longer than 6-8 months, and we ended up spending 3 years over there.
So I got to know, Maria, he comes home from work and says, I think we're going to be moving to China.
well, it actually, so Mike's a good storyteller, but I like the details. So I'm going to share a little bit about
Please.
that. And feel free to edit
No,
out.
sure.
It was in September. Mike calls, and of course, we moved in July, and we caravanned like Little House on the Prairie all the way down. I drove for a long, long time. And the goal was that I was supposed to look for land, and we were going to either build or buy. And so
And
that
this
was
is-
my
this is
responsibility.
where?
This is in South Texas.
Still in South Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
I had the brilliant idea, since Mike was going to be traveling, that I wanted the girls to experience the culture. I did not raise them in the culture, if you will.
Tell them about Marty going to school.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. There's some funnies. But it was hot. And September came around. I remember Mike calling me, and I had just gotten out of the shower. And he says, "Hey, babe." He was all happy. "What are you doing?" I said, "It's hot. I've got sweat running down the back of my butt.
Yeah.
I've got sweat running down the front." I said, "And I just showered, and I'm still sweating." It was hot. It was hot. And of course, I grew up there. I should have known, but it's a different climate. And so I said, "I'm coming back. I'm not going to stay here." And that's when I know you were working lots of hours. And he says, "Well, come up, Well, we'll figure it out from here," because it wasn't, we just didn't have a permanent home yet. We chose that, though. And I think that wanderlust, of always going somewhere different, that had a big play in it. And I missed you. It's like we're two peas in a pod. Mm-hmm. We're so different. He is so introverted. I'm so extroverted.
I can relate to that family dynamic. You know this.
Yes,
But,
yes.
but could you imagine God having you with anybody else?
No.
No.
That's why I tell him, okay, you have got to go get a colonoscopy. You've got to go do this and that because you need to be healthy.
I need you.
I need you to be here,
Yeah.
even if, my crazy comes out or whatnot. But don't leave me. Let me go first.
Yeah. I always tell Brooks the same thing. Like, you got to let me die first.
Yeah.
You got to let me. I can't handle this without you.
No. Life is difficult. So we traveled, came back, went to Michigan and joined them. And then we did love it there. We were right by the water. We had a farmhouse. It was just a lovely, life was good.
Yeah.
And when I was working at the bank, I don't even remember the name. Independent Bank. I was working there.
Hey, they're not sponsors of this podcast. No free advertising.
Okay.
Just kidding.
And I had spoken to the president at the time, and I was supposed to be getting groomed to be a bank manager. And I kept saying, well, this was my time. This is my time,
Yeah.
And of course, as my mother would say, well, when will the girls have this opportunity? I said, okay, fine. I mean, of course, I argued with myself, and I'm like, really? What do you want me to go there for?
You mean in regard to China?
Yes.
At this point,
I'm sorry. Yes.
So you're in this place in Michigan where your life feels like it's starting to bloom and blossom, and Mike comes home, or I'm assuming he comes and tells you in person. I don't think it doesn't sound like phone call material to me, and says, "Hey, I've got this opportunity to move our entire family across the Pacific. Depends which direction you fly, I suppose." But
Well, yes. So he went first, went to go look and see. And one of the questions was when he said it's in a village, I'm thinking we're going to live in a little village and people wear these pointy hats and rice paddies.
right, it's like your house is on stilts above like a little water, and you're Yeah.
One of the first questions, what, is it progressive?
is there an indoor restroom?
Oh,
Is
girl.
there AC? Yeah.
Of course, it was all very modern. We were supposed to be there, was it 6 months?
Yeah.
About 6 months. And it was it was difficult for the girls to transition. Chinese food as we know it in the U.S. is not real Chinese food.
Sure.
Sodium
And sugar. We like our sodium and sugar in our Chinese
Yes.
food here.
and our carbs, the breads. So, but we loved it. Christine, it is so unfortunate that if you haven't been there, you don't get to see the real, the people. They are wonderful and so loving, right? Loving. We had an IE that would help us, and she just loved loving on the girls. She would touch their hair. I'm sorry.
It's auntie. But it's actually like a maid.
Oh, so
Housekeeper.
Okay, so you had like someone who, did they live in or did they come every day?
They came every day.
Okay. And she helped support the household and helped with the girls and get you accustomed to.
Well, she came and helped keep it clean because you've got one kid crying where the food's not the same. It was an adjustment for all of us. But if we were to ask the youngest two now, hey, we're going back to China, would you like to go? They'd be packed, ready to go.
Really?
Give them an hour.
Yeah.
It is so different, but it's a good different, And again, it's unfortunate that our media sensationalizes things in ways that paint a different picture. I mean, it's been 10 years, a little over 10 years, and so I'm sure it's changed quite a bit, but when you live overseas, you get to experience life a little bit different. You get to see how big this world is.
Yeah.
And
when you come in contact, you think when you get over there, you think every Caucasian person is an American. And so
you just assume that they're going to be English speakers, and that's obviously not the case.
No, I remember the first time I talked to this guy. I am Russian. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, okay. So that didn't work. But we had a expat community that was just amazing.
fantastic.
All different. We had Germans, and
Australians.
Ukrainians, and Russian, and Argentinian.
Yes.
And they were just wonderful, wonderful people.
We spent time with people from all sorts of backgrounds. And I remember hearing...
The Kazakhstanian girl.
Yeah. That our girls learned so much, and we exposed them. This opportunity was wonderful because we were able to expose the two youngest girls to a world outside of the USA. And again, unless you've been out of this country, you don't know what you don't know. And
we've shared this on other episodes too. I've had the blessing to be able to travel internationally. You both know that. And both Alex and Adam have as well. And there is something beautiful in going and seeing a place because at the heart of it all, most people are kind. Most people want to be helpful. Most people are glad you're there and present. And so don't always believe anything that's sensationalized, especially about places like China that is not true. You can't just plague an entire population of people as one way. That would be no different than other countries doing that to those who live in the United States of America as well. But it is a beautiful gift that you were able to show your girls a different way of living in a place that is so different and operates under a dictatorship. which is a different type of leadership in government, and what the food can look like and what the cultures can look like and customs. Because 3 years is a long time for a family to be,
Yes,
and
total immersion, that's for sure.
and when that time there ended in China, were you still with that company when you came back to the States, Mike?
I had left that company.
Okay.
I had turned in my resignation, told them it was a time that I just needed to be with my family.
Yeah.
And cut back.
Yeah.
I still remember that resignation. Can I share?
I don't care.
It addressed it to, I think it was the owner,
Yeah,
someone in there. And it said, there comes a time in a man's life when he has to prioritize his life and decide what's more important, family or money. And he chose family. I was a little upset because I was going to.
You had so much fun spending all that, right?
Well, I was like, okay. I remember, and you know me, I am not pretentious. I am the least pretentious person on the face of this earth. But I remember speaking with Mike. At the end of December of 14, I think it was. And I'm tired. You're jet lagged. It's 13-hour difference. Plus, we just flew 12 and a half plus travel time and stuff. And I remember standing at the sink with a pile of dishes. Do you remember this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to cry. I was crying. I'm like, who's going to wash the dishes?
Okay. Okay.
I'm tired.
What was your help in China's name? The wonderful
Ai?
Ai. Oh, that was her name?
That's what we called her.
That's what.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were using initials like IE, like International Educator. Her name was IE. Thank you so much. Or
No.
Her title was IE.
Oh, thank you.
Every helper
Yeah.
is an IE, is an auntie.
Okay. And so that was a title that you gave her. So you missed your auntie from China.
If I could bring them. I think, Mike said it best once. He says, I don't think you miss the country as much as you miss the lifestyle. And true to his words, yes, because it allowed me to live in that manner. It allowed me to travel the concrete jungle is what I called it, because I was all over.
Well, and for 3 years, you didn't have to wash dishes.
Well,
That's amazing.
I did. I did.
So you're back stateside. And how did you get introduced to Wabash County? Obviously, Mike was born here. You were familiar with it, but what made you think about that introduction to, or be reintroduced back into coming back this way?
Well, this actually started back in China, too, because she started buying jewelry and things in China and sending them to Alex, and Alex was marketing them here.
Okay.
So Alex was still here.
Okay.
And
And Alex is your oldest of the three girls.
yes.
Okay.
And so Maria, to her forward-thinking craziness, why don't we just buy a building in North Manchester? Because I liked North Manchester at the time better than Wabash.
Sure.
Because when I was up there, it was kind of a progressive community and forward-thinking. And
Has the university there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she went up there and she started looking at buildings and she found one. And the day that she was going to go look at it, we had a torrential rainstorm and one of the walls collapsed on it.
Whoa.
So
Divine intervention.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so she goes, well, what do you think about Wabash? And I go,
I grew up there.
and so I said, I'm going to get outvoted 1-1 again anyway, so do what you want.
I know better at this point, right? You're like,
Yeah.
okay, go look.
So she started looking, and she found a couple buildings that she were interested in.
I had talked to one of the builders,
Okay.
and
As someone who was renovating a property, when you say a builder, is that it? Like just a contractor of sorts you talked
Yes.
to? Okay.
and he offered the building to me for $10,000, so long as he did all the work.
Oh, okay.
And in theory, it sounds, win-win. But Mike is a carpenter. And that just wasn't going to work. I think it's only right if we share that. When you said, and you finally gave the green thumb of go ahead, buy a building, he put in some pretty strict parameters. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, I'm sure.
You do, because you don't always like those boundaries, do you?
No, I had to stay within these lines. I'm like, oh.
Surprise. That's a shocker. To anybody who knows you, that's a shocker.
I did, because I knew he wasn't going to budge. You can't spend more than this
Yeah.
amount of money.
Yeah. Which is healthy. I mean, true. I mean, that's healthy because you spent 3 years with her in the concrete jungle. You know what she was doing and her ability,
Yeah.
which is good, which is good. So you're here and you're looking around.
And she had talked to Kim Truska a year prior to that or something.
Oh, so the way it worked was that China was sending us back to the country of origin for our passports. There was lots of legalities because the girls were not biologically Mike's daughters. And so, do you remember that? We had to get letters, and I mean, it was...
Yeah, we had to come back and renew our visa at the Chinese consulate in Chicago,
And
which was another expensive ordeal on Michigan Avenue.
let's leave that out. But so we came in, and when I was looking around, Alex said, Mom, let's go to this place. It's downtown Wabash. And I'm like, in Wabash? There's nothing in Wabash. She says, Mom, you won't believe it. It's changing. And the hotel was not that hotel. I'm not sure what was there, but it was not
Apartments at that time, I'm sure.
well, it was, I think it was gated or something was happening, construction. And the Dorothy Eileen was going strong, and she had artwork in there. She had some vintagey items. She had live music, and there was a winery in there. And I loved it. It fed my soul. I loved it. And that was the influence. We talked about a lot of stuff. Okay, so we were dreamers. We talked about a deli. Well, who's going to man a deli full time? I don't like the kitchen. So,
We know.
yeah.
We just heard.
No, I mean to cook,
Yeah.
you know?
Same.
Yeah. Anyways, so we wanted to do, and I'm sorry, anyways, I shouldn't say that because that dismisses you, and I apologize.
What? That I don't like to cook either?
No, when I say, well, anyways.
Oh, no. Keep going.
So we thought of a deli, we thought of different things, but then something that we're both passionate about is artwork and handcrafted goods. I absolutely love and cherish things that are made by someone, not a machine, by someone. And Mike, you put it best, hon, when we said, okay, what is our story here? Because he said, you can only sell so many bracelets. Christine, the first, I want to say 4 months, or was it 5 months, that we were open, we sold 14,000 pieces. Now, at the time, I didn't know that a couple of the people that we were helping were actually retailers themselves. And they were coming in from Fort Wayne, and it was by chance. You know, they were coming up 15, going to the lake in Warsaw, I believe is the story, and it was by chance, and we got bit by the bug. Now, I have always loved secondhand stuff, always. And somehow I wanted to put that in there some way, but...
Because you have a heart for sustainability as well. Like you both do, actually. That's something I think ingrained in both of you is the sustainability living and selling, of items and so forth, too.
But before we go there, we went to Tretreska. The building was Kimberly's photography studio. And we looked at it. It was a Friday or a Saturday. And we were leaving the next day, the girls. And I felt like we were rushing. And so we saw the building. She seemed nice. The place had a good feel. I know it sounds crazy, but...
Oh, it does. She took Cassidy's photographs almost all her life until she retired from portraiture.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it had a good
That's
feel.
why it had a good feel.
Yeah. And we walked away from it, and we needed to leave because we were going to leave back to China on that Sunday or Monday. Anyway, so we walked away from that, and I said, if it's meant to be, it'll be there when we're ready. And I think it was October or November when I reached back out to her, and I asked her if it was still for sale. And sure enough, it was. I felt like, oh, okay. And we did everything from a distance. And this is where Jenny Terrell comes in. Phenomenal woman. She helped us along the way. She,
And for our listeners, Jenny Terrell owns her own realtor company. She is another one of those local individuals who has a heart and a love for her clients, but she has a heart for this community. She's a great supporter of Visit Wabash County, too.
oh, we love her.
Yes.
We love her. So it all worked out. Here we are. We purchased the building. That was in, I think it was 13. I don't think it was 2012, 2013.
Probably
'Cause-
13 or 14, probably. Wasn't it?
I think it was, well, tomato. I don't know.
Somewhere in there.
Yes. And Alex was working on the building, and it was getting close to the time for us to come back to the U.S. And I think the girls and I, did not want to. We were having fun. And I'll share a little bit about that. But it was getting close to the time. I think a few months prior to that, a man at your company had fallen through some glass. And do you remember that?
Falling through a ceiling.
Yeah. And I think that was the turning point for Mike, where money is not everything. Money to give to these people, we've just taken their main source of income. You know, not we, but he passed. And so now do you remember? I mean, it was hard. I remember Mike was pretty torn up about that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was tough. So we said, well, we will go back to Indiana and we'll start working on the building and looking. And one of the things that we thought about, well, Mike, you did. I was like, no, why? I don't want to live in the building. I want to live in a house. But it made sense because then the plans just kind of seemed to fall together. It truly, I want to say that it is what we were supposed to do at the time because everything fell into place. And look, it just went smoothly. We were able to buy within the parameters that you set. And I say that not to make Mike sound like an ogre or anything like that, but Mike's my sounding board.
Sure. And it's good to have that responsible person in your life who we can get excited and caught up in an idea or in a project. But if you have someone who's grounded in some of those parameters, Mike's thinking long term, investment, what this could look like, and then making sure we can live, after we've invested in this property, I would imagine is part of the reason.
Well, yeah, you did hear that part about responsible person.
Anyways, so along the way of mopping and painting and spackling and whatnot, the idea of our love of artwork and craftiness, art is subjective. A crocheting person can be an artist in their own right.
Oh, for sure.
So we shifted. And finally, when we made that decision, we wanted a place where we could showcase and feature local makers and crafters and artists in the shop, along with some jewelry. So when we first opened, I don't know if you remember, we only had 500 square feet, the very first 500 square feet. I mean, we were shoulder to shoulder. I have a picture of one of the girls laying on the floor afterwards. I'm like, oh, it was fantastic.
Well, that front part of the building was cut off from the back 2/3. And I had thought that I was going to be making stuff too. So I put my wood shop back there, and that lasted about, I think, 3 days. And she goes, I need this space.
My vision grew.
Yeah.
So all my woodworking equipment went upstairs, and I opened that area up and put some more lighting in there. And it was not ideal, but it functioned.
It did.
I loved it back there. I remember when you did the reno and added that extra space in the back part of the building and the way that you were creative, and it felt like a second room, but it still flowed nicely. I mean, you did it well, even though you got booted.
Yeah, thanks.
It worked well, and I really feel like we lived in a place that we loved.
So you lived on the second floor of a downtown historic building.
Yes.
And then your storefront, the first floor, was all your retail space for your makers, your crafters, your artisans.
Yes.
And then the lower level, that was more of a storage, sorting, staging area, correct?
Oh, yes. That
Yes.
was our...
I saw it before. So you were a good collector.
I am. I pride myself in being a collector of things that make no sense to anyone else but me.
I would agree. That's like you get a blue ribbon. First rate. Because you both do estate sales. You know, you buy estate sales.
Her primarily.
Well, but I feel like she can't carry it all.
Yeah.
There's a role that you play.
Yeah, it's called Burro.
Burro, donkey.
Yeah, donkey, burro, pack mule. I
Yeah.
heard you speaking on your way up the steps. You found a picture of Mike carrying
Yes.
everything. He's
The
always been
groceries.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, balance.
Yes. When we
Balance.
lived in Shanghai, we had to go we lived in Lushu, Suzhou. But when we had to go to Shanghai for American groceries, well, there's no way to carry them through the subway, through the bus, so he has this huge backpack. Do we still have that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a huge backpack, and all our groceries would fit in there. And I think you ate it once, and it was, oh, I feel bad, but I'm not carrying it.
Yeah, we need these things.
Yes.
And you're strong. And you're so strong. So you're now living in your building. The business is open. How do you feel this community received you, your family, your product, your vision, your dream? What did that feel like for both of you? Because you've poured a lot of time, talent, and treasure. Like you poured financially, you've invested now in this community that you weren't super keen on to begin with, which is okay. And wasn't this community, the Wabash community, wasn't your first choice. North Manchester is still Wabash County. We love all of Wabash County, but you were looking more north instead of central. So what was that like for you to be received once you've launched this vision and this idea?
I think that it wasn't so much the product line that she had. I think it was the way that people were treated when they came in the store. Because Mother Teresa said that the most important person is the person in front of you. Might be a paraphrase, but it's pretty close. And that's the way we ran that business, that everybody was going to feel appreciated and loved when they walked in.
Absolutely. Yes. And welcomed, And then we told the story of the maker, whether it was a painting, a wood piece. Yeah, there was a couple of times that I took in some work of a member of the community that wanted to be a contributing member to his family, but maybe didn't have the skill set. But I felt inclined. I mean, I wanted to support that person too, because again, art is subjective, and he was so proud of his pieces. So, yep,
And that probably felt good too.
it does. It did. Of course, at one time we had too many. And that's when you start to lose focus. And I know I lost that focus when, we need to get one more in, this and that, And so you start to lose that focus. But going back, living downtown, you asked a question about how the community treated us.
Yeah.
We had a very warm welcome. And I attribute that, the welcoming, just the goodness of it all, as we had when we were planning our open house and our grand opening. I wanted to make sure that we received a blessing. And Pastor Bruce, remember that? He came in, and I know it wasn't done. I don't know of anyone that's done it since. Maybe they have. But I wanted someone there to say a prayer. Yes, I pray. But I wanted
I pray too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
People are shocked, like, I said, I know.
Yeah.
When I
You're very devout in your faith. You're not a judger. You don't push on anyone, but there is a centeredness to you that I often feel from you. And I know that. You do pray. You have a faith.
I really believe that the good Lord made me in his image, and that's why I'm the way I am.
Truth. And everybody receives your image differently.
Very. With me, you either like me or you don't. There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
And either way, I'll still love you.
Yes.
I may have to put you on the side and say, oh, we can't be friends, but we can be acquaintances.
Sure.
You
sure.
know?
So
But-
you invited someone in to bless.
To bless her. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Of course.
See? So we invited Bruce, and I asked him if he could say a blessing and a prayer, and he did. And I think that is the start of goodness. That was telling the community without telling them that we are loving and accepting people, that this is a good place, whether you're a believer or not. It doesn't matter to me if you're a believer or not. But I wanted you to know that you are welcome. And so I wanted you to know that then.
And that sounds like it echoes what Mike had said was the items, the pieces that you were selling were quality, but what kept people returning was how they felt the moment they walked in that door. And that sounds like that was some of your foundational culture you wanted to have Eclectic Shoppe represent.
Yes, absolutely.
And an eclectic being a perfect name for the business because it reflected really well what products you would have on the sales floor.
Thank you. We worked hard. We did discover. So, you go through changes, and retail is incredibly different because you have to try to stay with the trends, with those hot things. I have never been a fan of new. Why? Because after you were working with wholesale prices, you get to discover, I can't pay for that. I know exactly how much, I'm shopping the same websites they are. And furniture, the antique pieces, the vintage pieces were made so much better, solid. Heck, we have pieces that are 100 years old in better quality and condition than the new modern pieces. Although the new looks good, that's throwaway furniture. That's throwaway. So I'd rather not.
Mass produced, kind of build
Yes.
it, put it together yourself. For some budgets, that's all that they can
Exactly.
at that point in their life. But when they're ready to invest in some of those pieces that will stand the test of time, you have those. And you've had an eye and a heart for those off and on throughout the business operations. I mean, you
Yes.
are a hunter. You're a treasure hunter.
Yes, it is the treasure hunting that is so addicting.
Yeah.
Would you say?
That's your story.
Poor Mike.
He just makes sure the van has fuel or the truck,
The truck, yeah.
The truck now.
But it came to a point where handmade items,
Yeah.
artist items,
Yeah.
makers, crafters, it takes time. And when you factor in that into the price point of your items, people don't want to pay that. They didn't want to pay $25 for a mug, but they didn't realize that behind this mug was a phenomenal story, or, that these stockings were made from vintage coats and
Or these macrame items took like 15 hours to produce.
yes. So
Well, in those items that you had from your makers, they weren't made by a machine.
exactly.
So there's not this assembly line that's pumping out 2,000 units of this exact same item. Someone's hand, your makers, you've always called them makers and craft. They've taken the time to create and make that one individual piece so special that their time is of value. And that's what people don't understand about artisans and even craftsmen. I think maybe you can relate to that too, Mike. And my husband and I talk a lot about even craftsmanship, the time it takes to craft things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to devalue their work.
No.
And so you want to make sure that you're on target. Some things, sometimes we would lower the price a little bit, but never enough to be insulting. I don't want to insult the maker because I understood, the time commitment.
You care so deeply about your crafters, your makers, the people who you are showcasing in Eclectic Shoppe for Eclectic Shoppe, and also have had to bend and shift. I can remember back during COVID in 2020 when the world didn't understand what was happening. And I can remember you would talk to my team and you had this heart to still make sure you were reaching sales. Like, how can I make sure that we're not only supporting the sales of Eclectic Shoppe, but all of these artisans that are relying on this income? And you pivoted and you leaned in and you pivoted and you did live videos, and at the beginning, you weren't comfortable. You didn't think you could do them. Nope. They quickly became a family favorite at my house. Maria's on. And we still call things simply darling. That was one of your word choices.
Darling.
Just darling. Or when you'd break something and you'd be like, oh, beep. That was also Brooks. She broke something. Get in here quick. But you really were so dedicated, even when you weren't comfortable, to push through.
Absolutely. We had to. You know, we invested part of our retirement into our business.
Yeah.
And so at the time, we had 2 girls in college, and failure was not an option.
Yeah.
I think, maybe a couple of days, what are we going to do? You know,
Sure.
because it's a mandatory shutdown.
Sure.
And so I picked myself up. Okay, what do I do? I remember the first night I did my first Facebook Live. I got up, got dressed, got some makeup on. I staged everything, and it wasn't, it just wasn't natural. That's not my crazy me. You know,
Yeah.
I was just trying to put something out there that I thought people wanted. Yeah. And really, from the feedback I got, people wanted to see Maria, like
Absolutely.
my crazy Maria, me.
But and also that's just genuinely when you're showing and sharing items, there are things that you spent time to find and pick out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you cared about that piece. You thought it would bring value to someone, you know? And so the crazy, wild, truly who you were is back to what Mike had said, which is why people keep going back to Eclectic Shoppe. It's the experience piece of it. I know Alex has really stepped into a stronger role, off and on throughout the years, but really strong, I know, in the most recent years. And you and Mike truly believe in supporting the community that you're in. And so at some point, you did make a decision that you were ready for some more of a rural life, right? So out of the downtown and more into a quiet area. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you both landed where?
We are now living in LaFontaine.
LaFontaine, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I wanted a place where I could garden, tinker with the yard, and
Your tractor,
work on my cars and stuff. And
farmer carries
yeah,
for your workouts.
yeah, that stuff too. Yeah, because you look a little stupid carrying concrete blocks down the sidewalk.
I mean, I would cheer you on, you know this.
Yeah, but I think that's was part of it, and it originally began as just a weekend house.
Yes. Because we loved living downtown. And I still want to answer your question. And in terms of how people received us and stuff, but not just the people, not just everyone. But I want to make sure I iterate and reiterate that the community, in terms of the leadership, your team, at the time was it Keith up there? He tried. Then Mayor. And it was just, oh my God, you know, these people are like these people, and they came in to see what they could do. And they opened the door.
They
And
wanted to see you succeed. That's the thing.
I realized that. But when you're opening a business, all those fears and the apprehension, I mean, you're eating all that up and you're thinking, I'm by myself. And we weren't.
That's another key element, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly. In a community like Wabash, Indiana, Wabash County, it doesn't matter whether you're a big fish, a big, huge manufacturer, or a small, curated retail shop. Those who are key decision makers or serve in a public servant role see everyone. And you felt seen, you felt supported, you felt valued by not only your tourism office and your economic development office and your Main Street, but the mayor of the community, the mayor of the city, who is responsible for 30,000 people and yet still saw Mike and Maria Smyth in Eclectic Shoppe on Canal Street.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
I loved it.
Well,
Loved it.
And that's something that's special here. I will brag on this community for that. It is special and it is different.
It is. And it makes a difference knowing that people like you are here for us, because we don't know what we don't know. We're learning along the way. I can remember Jennifer Long Dillon coming to the shop during, maybe it was after my first Facebook Live. Okay, photography. And I thought I knew a little bit about photography. And I'm like, And then she shows me some tips, and to this day, I carry it. I'm not going to take the picture with the window in the back. You need to do it in reverse. Little things like that. And sometimes it's little things that we should know, but we're so busy getting this business going that we don't know.
Well, you're accounts payable, accounts receivable. You're the janitor. You're the shopper. You're the packager. You're the stager. You're the pricer. You're every single role in a small business. You're
Absolutely.
the marketing department, right? So,
Yeah.
and you're the frontline service staff. So, you are busy doing so many different roles to fill that business when corporations have teams and so forth. And I'm blessed to have a team that does so many of those pieces, right? And so I can understand why it's important for organizations like mine at Visit Wabash County to pour into our entrepreneurs and our small businesses, because one or two or three tips can tip the tide for you to make you feel more successful.
Absolutely.
Or at least feel supported and seen that you're valued and we care. We care. It's not just after the doors open and the ribbon's cut and the lights are on. It's 2 months down the road, 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road. We're still checking in to make sure that you are set up for the best success that you can have. And if there's something I know my team at Visit Wabash County can offer to support you or any business, we will. Your successes are our successes. Go ahead.
Thank you. We just have to know that our questions are welcome.
Always.
And so for the longest time in downtown Wabash, I felt like I'm going to be the town hostess or
You still
the cheerleader.
kind of are. You still
because
are.
I want to tell everyone this is why this community is great. We have Visit Wabash County, we have Grow Wabash County, and we have these organizations in place to help that small business. We have the nicest little jewelry store that just came in, and I'm thinking, we need to help share that word because that is so nice.
And so after a while, though, I mean, this downtown network, this downtown neighbors, and you were all and still are these really great network of people. And you were always so good when your business was downtown. And we'll switch to its current location here in a minute. But when you were in downtown Wabash, you were that neighbor that checked in on others' businesses. How are things going? Can we partner on something? Can we collaborate on something? And so that spirit is received at your neighbor's store around the corner, Bella Zoe, or pick one, Brooch Boutique, are saying, oh, you check out Eclectic Shoppe over there on Canal Street. And this upselling and supporting of one another is also just a culture among the small business community. And so at some point, Mike's decided he wants more tractor time on his weekend house. So when did you make the commitment to make LaFontaine the permanent home, not just the weekend home?
Well, that's kind of a difficult one. I think it became, we had a chance to sell the building. I think that's probably when that came about. And we were pretty well torn about that too.
Yes.
Because
many tears.
We had the apartment upstairs is something that I poured my whole heart into.
So cool.
And I didn't want to leave it. I liked my little apartment that we'd built, and it was home.
It was time. I think we came to the realization that it's time to turn the page, or, without trying to be so poetic, but it was time to do something different. The move was supposed to help me slow down. I am
Well, that didn't work.
I am a workaholic. I am happiest when I am doing what I love.
And you're working a full-time job too, and operating this business and staffing. And so you are a workaholic, but you also worked 25 steps from where you lived and operated your own business.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not easy, but it's doable.
Sure.
And
It's harder to take a break then.
It really was. It really was. But I wanted to make sure that Mike and I, we were so busy. We were raising kids. We were working and doing our own thing that I know I started to feel like I was neglecting my husband. And the girls had already moved out. And I felt like it's time. And so LaFontaine came up. And I remember the little building that we're in, much smaller. So we went from having almost 5,000 square feet to having about 11 to 1,200. We gave away a lot.
But you had said to me when you were thinking of moving Eclectic Shoppe and struggling painfully with this decision to sell and permanently live in LaFontaine, if we're going to be there, then we need to be there.
Yes. Invest in the place that we live.
Yeah.
We did that in Wabash with different things. And
Absolutely.
so I am involved in LaFontaine we're working towards a Main Street affiliate designation. It's a lot different. It's a smaller community.
Sure.
Eclectic Shoppe is not open for pedestrian traffic. We're using that at more of a warehouse. We have booths. And you would think, oh, I would love to have a brick and mortar again, but one that can sustain itself. And we're not there, unfortunately. And that was a lesson in humility for me, a very humbling experience. I was overconfident. I got in my head, overconfident moving, saying, oh, we've got close to 7,000 followers. They'll follow us. And they did for a while. But then we started to hear, well, you're so far away, or we don't come this way, And that was a hard pill to swallow.
When you had moved from a community size of, I think the city of Wabash proper is 10,000 people.
10,400.
And to the town of LaFontaine, which is a much, much smaller, one of our smaller communities, not the smallest, but one of the smaller ones, and hadn't had a lot of economic investment. So for the Smyths to choose to have an economic investment or choose to invest in that community, one, I'm sure made those who live in LaFontaine feel pretty darn good. But it's it's a start, though. It's a resurgence, right? And so you're right. You're not going to have the same natural capacity in the town of LaFontaine that you naturally, easily had in the city of Wabash.
Absolutely. We still have support. We do have a
Sure.
great little community.
Of course you do.
Little things happening there. And
that tide has shifted there, too, because I think one of the things, you had some really great stakeholders in LaFontaine who loved that community, but you bring in a firecracker, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike,
Right.
You bring in a firecracker like Maria, who dreams big, but works just as hard alongside to reach those dreams. You think about that. You've seen her build empty building, build it up into a successful business in Wabash. Now you've chosen to settle in LaFontaine, a smaller community. You bring a firecracker like her into a community like that, and it reignites some of the passion and can challenge a community who's, could be set in some old ways.
Oh, yeah.
Also, but that's everywhere. And then thinking differently, slowly getting kind of accepting that, gosh, we could bring back block parties, which we're seeing the LaFontaine Community Alliance launch. But sometimes it just takes that spark to also see value. And I think that's something that's really unique to both of you is you did take a big risk to move your retail space to a smaller community. And then you chose to really start to engage with it. You didn't just think selfishly, we're just going to build Eclectic Shoppe. We only care about us.
Oh, no. That's not us at all.
that's not us.
Yeah.
That's not us.
And you have found your space to be able to completely relax into, I feel, with you being out there in LaFontaine and being in that green space is healing for you.
Yes, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's playing in the dirt, scratching in the dirt,
Well, you get to play farmer. He actually does farmer things.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And
So-
cook. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike is a pretty darn good cook.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he comes up with some really that's one of the reasons you both considered a cafe at one point, isn't it? Because of his natural culinary talents.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've traveled to other states to pick up. We still have coffee, a 3-head. Is it 3-head or 2?
No, it's a 2-head.
A 2-head coffee maker and things like that because the dream hasn't died. We just have to find the right place, I guess.
What it could be.
We already have the logo. We have a somewhat of a business plan. We have. We're ready, and it's once we. Do we wait till we retire? No, we'll wait until it feels good.
Yeah.
It's
still percolating.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not ready. It's kind of percolating. Why did you stay You talked earlier in the very beginning of this episode, I think in 1 year you had 5 addresses. Is that right?
5 years, we had 7 addresses.
So, thank you. Why did you stay here? What has stuck? Your girls have grown.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their own lives doing wonderfully. I know you both are so proud of your
Yes.
collective children, Why did you stay?
I think if we had left it, the entire decision up to Mike, we would be in California. True?
True.
Yeah. But my comeback to that has always been,
I got outvoted 1-1 again.
I'm glad for that vote. I'm not going to lie.
but when we first stayed in Wabash, Wabash has this amazing community of inclusivity. This is a phenomenal community. And we did our time here and gave back how we could. And that was through being involved. I think, I don't know, I may be the loudest mouth out there, but I love the downtown community. Wabash as a whole is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But the downtown, you'll know you're home.
Yeah.
Really.
That's really well said. In my role, I have the privilege and the blessing to meet and to interact with so many people. And I get to sometimes welcome them when they're returning or staying or opening or dreaming big. And I'm always overwhelmed with some of that spirit that you just kind of referenced. And I feel blessed to get to build relationship with people no matter what stage or phase they're in their life or in their work, whether that's manufacturing, whether it's a small business like in North Manchester inside the Coop, or a new coffee shop or a new jewelry shop. And that's whether it's in Wabash, LaFontaine, LaGros. I just really am lucky to get to see what you said that's special here and that's different, and that connection to people. And as Mike had said, you both choose then to be those types of people back. I feel like the people who are transplants here, like yourself, or choose to then stay, even though you're voted out, to keep your roots here, are reciprocating that same behavior. You're choosing then to reciprocate that back outward. The Thrive In podcast is an example of support in a way that I never thought could be possible. And we have had people pour into us too. And so this podcast is supported by the Gilman Investment Fund, the Sandra Kunkel Trust, Mark and Amy Ford, Paperworks Industries, the City of Wabash, the Community Foundation of Wabash County, and of course, Visit Wabash County. So those individuals and organizations and businesses pour back and believe in what we're doing to share stories like the Smyths out in the world. And we hope it inspires other communities. We hope it inspires the people who live here and don't often recognize the work, the grit, the time, the dedication it takes to do what each of you are doing every day. You make Wabash County great. You make Wabash County thrive. You're the reason why we're growing and people are wanting to be a part of this. So thank you both for being a guest in the studio today. Any final thoughts that you'd like to leave for our listeners?
Yes. If I could do a shameless plug-in.
Please.
In LaFontaine, we are fundraising at this time for a mural to be painted by Erica Tyson.
Oh, she's great.
She is. And that's part of that dream big and adding color. I'm like, oh, we need some color. And I am so excited about that. That we've done a few little beautification projects and adding benches and flower pots and flowers. And we're getting ready to do a little bit of Christmas decoration. In the town of LaFontaine, when you do it, when you have an idea and you want to make a change, it has to be in small doses, because not everybody can handle Crazy Maria and all her wild ideas, Yes. But we're having a mural in the summer of 2026.
And that is a pretty substantial piece. And again, going back to sometimes it takes that spark that we see in someone to fan those flames and get others rallied around. And that'll be an amazing transformative project for the town of LaFontaine.
So exciting.
You should be excited.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being our guest. I'm Christine Floor, and this is the Thrive in Wabash County podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.